Thank you. It's great to be here with Open Civics. And so I am Brandon Nørgaard. I am a researcher and tech developer. And recently I've been working on multiple projects that I have posted some of the documents to the Open Civics group thread in recent weeks here. I mean, there's been a lot of developments, a lot of interesting and amazing things that you can do with the AI that's happening. Is you can actually gather just very diverse strands and organize it. That's what I've been doing. So notably, my work includes a project called Civic Intelligence Infrastructure, which I'm doing for Mediators Foundation, and it is in association with Better Together America and their network of civic hubs, and also OpenHaven, which is under the umbrella of the Collaborative Tech Alliance, and that is for it's a protocol navigator for the peer-to-peer and decentralized space, which we created. It was Dave Waterbury's brainchild, and so we were able to vibe code that. And I mean, it otherwise would have taken like years or never happened. So it's amazing stuff. AI is a double-edged sword, and we are using the best edge to as much as we can, to try to get ahead of the techno accelerationists who might cause us troubles. So we're trying to empower the people while we can. So I want to start by naming the thread that runs through everything I'm going to share today, because on the surface these projects might look separate, but they are interrelated. The common threads are ecosystem mapping, data normalization, standardization, and integration. These four things are what I keep coming back to no matter which project I'm on. And while these I think these essential infrastructure elements are not emphasized enough in civic tech right now. So this is what I'm trying to work on. So I think I want to start by showing a live demo of OpenHaven, which maybe you guys saw. Just a moment here. All right, so OpenHaven, and this is about building bridges in the peer-to-peer ecosystem. And so we have this showing essentially all the peer-to-peer tech tools that we can think of, or federated, somehow decentralized. And this includes protocols, platforms, apps, smart contracts, standards, digital ID, decentralized storage, and compute. So we identified several different entity types, and we tried to get as comprehensive as possible in organizing these and mapping them. And actually, we have two different ways of doing that within this prototype. It's just a prototype right now. One of them is just a matrix overall of all of the different, not all of these are protocols per se, but all of these, like even Bluesky is on here, Holochain, NextGraph, which is a lot of people are using that these days, and a lot of these smart contract standards. And so we're actually trying to add more into it and make it live. And we've actually, for every one of these, we have a lot of attributes that we're identifying, and might not have a huge amount of time to really get into all the details here, but just to show you that's there. And another thing actually is we have a way of using this, like where it starts with use cases. You could say, like, what am I trying to do? I care about identity and trust, for example. I care about any one of these important elements of pro-social tech development. And so once we've identified a use case, we can refine by affordance, okay, like sovereign identity or contextual disclosure or proof of humanity, and then we can see, okay, what tech tools enable me to do that. So we can actually see, and for these, they also say, what is the capture risk? Some of these kind of masquerade as empowering people, but they're actually, they're not exactly as decentralized as they are, as they purport to be, or there's something else about them that is a concern. And so we're looking at that. We also have possibilities. Actually, we have some ideas about how this could turn into a launch pad for future development. And we are, yeah, this is actively in development. This is something we just put together. There's a lot of different aspects of this. I mean, I could do a whole presentation just on this, and just to get into more details about what it's doing. This came out of the Collaborative Technology Alliance. This is an effort to make visible the full decentralized peer-to-peer protocol landscape, and to aim for interoperability, interactability, and to help people and communities and builders navigate this space, and to not just like get lost in the sea of technical jargon. You know, so we're aiming towards social convergence. We're giving people the information that they need to be able to compare one protocol to another, to be able to compare, you know, to look at the full stack as well. You know, so not just like an app itself, but what's happening under the covers, what is providing this capability. All right. Now, I think if there's still a little bit of time here, you know, maybe I have 15 minutes, but I want to be able to also present just a little bit on this civic intelligence infrastructure. Because, and this is kind of related as well. Now, this is the connective tissue between civic tools. Now, there's a lot of civic tools out there that are offering a range of functions for, you know, deliberation, for event organizing, for giving, you know, ecosystem mapping, or impact measurements in different ways. And what we're basically trying to do is normalize that and organize it so that we have an interoperability and an intelligence layer that makes the collective output legible. And this is not really an AI development project in itself, but it's intended to offer a connectivity across AI systems. I understand there's some people here who are developing civic AI. And if I can kind of show here that there's problems, including some of the main problems are invisibility, coordination failure, fragmented civic infrastructure, impact, opacity, knowledge fragmentation, systems blindness. So we're looking at creating a hub integration layer across these civil society hubs, providing some intelligence, auditable analytics layer, and ecosystem mapping infrastructure. You know, so, and actually I have a whole report on ecosystem mapping, which I probably won't be able to get to here, but I put that in the chat. And this is a really interesting slide, you know, to consider, is that CII has this data normalization and knowledge graph backbone and ecosystem mapping, but it connects in to social science AI systems, to impact measurement frameworks, to deliberative tools. And also that there's some stakeholders who are working on some similar things. You might have heard of MetaGov. They're doing something like that. And this is going a little bit further than what MetaGov has so far identified. So as I understand it, they're working on an interoperability across deliberative platforms. And this is focused on more functions. Like, we're looking at a range of functions that these people who are trying to do community organizing, trying to bring people together, and they have different tools. The tools are not compatible with each other. There's a lot of friction in what they're doing, and you know, they're already using several different tools that are incompatible within the same hub, and they're not even compatible across different hubs and different locations. So we're looking at, how do we normalize that? How do we look at this broad range of functions and offer that those capacities to the civic hub builders and community organizers, and also for citizens who are looking to get involved. This is to empower, I think, not only to work within the existing frameworks or status quo legacy institutions, but also to foment the ability to create new institutions, to replace the existing ones that are increasingly dysfunctional and fraying. So somewhere down the line, we're hoping to empower that. And there's probably a connection. In fact, there is a connection between OpenHaven and this, in that looking at how these hubs are not just local communities, but they have some sort of decentralized architecture. And on what platforms, it depends on what makes sense to build on, what infrastructure, what protocols. And so that's where there would be actual work to do local experiments, to build local infrastructure to support those communities. And that is ultimately what we are doing here.